Hello and welcome to the top 8 of the Portland Board Game Regional Championship. My name is Kenny Lissett and I'm joined here by Trevor Reed. And we are watching Chase Moloney do battle with Jordan Stoddard. So right off the bat we see Chase opens up with a Jirachi and Jordan's actually playing Manectric Home. So you tested with Chase a lot at this point. What was his mindset going into the top 8?
His mindset going into the top 8, so he wanted to try to hard counter what he thought Jordan was going to run. Guess what we thought he was going to run was going to be Moloney, but then it looked like he was going to be changing to so Chase ended up running Virizion. Our original plan was to play Stoddard Token Cut, but then Moloney off Chase switched to Virizion, which unfortunately this got left over longer as his opponent's playing Manectric, which is actually the one deck I tested for extended. The deck is interesting. It's a deck that, like, if you battle VG or Steel, you win really hard. It theoretically has a good battle matchup, but the deck is really inconsistent. Like, it's consistent in getting a blow, but as soon as they top your turn and start slowing you down with that, your deck just really falls apart against the total lasers and defensive abilities. However, against Virizion Genesect, it's
which is what Chase is playing in the
And Chase also starts off with Virizion Star, which is to make things a little bit more appealing.
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know how these regional tournaments work, is that day 1 is standard, and then the top 8 is expanded. And because only the top 8 is expanded, a lot of what happens is there's a lot of wargaming, and there's a lot of saying, okay, well, I don't necessarily care what everyone else is playing, I don't care how my opponent is playing, or maybe you might counter your opponent, because you just can't mitigate for the field for who you know you're playing against. And me and Chase had a long, lengthy talk, and he thought that Virizion would be a good choice, and it seemed like he got another gamed a little bit.
Yep, but it's always one versus the other. And for me, the majority of us is getting a place to start. You got to this card of so Chase is not looking good for Chase right now. He's got 3 for 1. So, number 2. Yeah, maybe. Wait, let's get that.
There's the hands. So, what are the ways that Chase wins?
Chase runs 1 copy of Dedenne, so I believe there was one to Lightning, so must have been Dedenne, kill a Ho, that'll get him to After that, he's going to have to get off an Emerald Slash at some point, or so Jordan has the Jirachi on bench, so the way that you run is Chase gets 2 off the Ho with Dedenne, then he gets a Megalitonic Totem on the Jirachi, and then a cheap so that's going to be pretty tough for him. On 2 fronts, one without having to shut something and having to second down, so Jordan's going to have to fail 2 turns of rebirths for Chase to accomplish that. And also, Chase opted out of playing the Deoxys, so if Jordan gets on a Mega Man, so we'll have to also get so it's going to be a really tough battle, but also Chase has to get the Virizion to get him out of Jordan getting or killing the Virizion before his turn.
And Jordan getting that low 1 turn is Chase wanted to see. I think another way that Chase can kind of construct a win, or at least put himself in a good place, is to say, hey Jordan, you missed all your goals, so you just didn't draw any goals, and that's not really a factor anymore. Now it's just Manectric versus Virizion, but a 3 energy blow on turn 1.
If this deck does, it gets it to turn 1 over. I mean, like, it might lose things out to Toad, but it will get a it looks like Chase is actually just a Pokemon and pass, so it looks like actually Jordan takes it. Just dumps at the
My goodness. Alright, well, so that's game 1. That's one way the game can play out. Hopefully game 3 is the match will last a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more back and forth. An unfortunate turn of events for Chase. Chase is definitely underdog in this matchup, but sitting with Jirachi not getting out of Pokemon and your opponent getting a whole bunch of. It's not a normal case.
I mean, like, Chase is still with the next 2 games. I mean, like, those are big things that happen.
Definitely.
Make sure that you get the job. Seriously?
It's a good time to remind you all that On the Bubble is brought to you by Top Cut Central. Check out topcutcentral.com for all of your Pokemon singles, sealed product, and accessory needs. Also check out On the Bubble at facebook.com/OTT. So tell the people how you finished in this tournament.
Well, I finished 9th today, or yesterday, I guess it was, with the same deck as Chase. Ended up 16 to a Manectric Landorus deck, and then I also lost to Chen, who was first going to his steel deck. Pretty good matchup, but I ended up getting benched. So, ended up like that, but it happens.
How are you doing?
I think I'm 75 points back. But I only have like 15 mini challenges, 3 states, 2 levels, I wasn't going for top 16 because I wasn't able to get on time for cities, so getting basically 60 points.
So we
You're still in the game.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Like, if I get to top 16,
hope that we could hear that. What was their recommendation?
Shouldn't be too hard. You've qualified for Worlds 2014 and 13. Yes.
I did not qualify to get to see Chen.
And the rest of us
The problem Victoria has in the secret player would be nice, but yeah, so qualified 2014. I really need those.
The video game players making some noise.
We're doing this third round.
Trace is taking a mulligan. For the other players in this top 8, we have Jacob Van Wagner. He's playing the same deck that he played yesterday. Saibito DX and Slurp. He's playing against Fuji Nishiwa, who I don't know what he's playing.
We're guessing that he was probably running like plasma fairies. I'm not sure what he is in fact running, but that was the guess. And then I believe there's a Moloney here match from the first and 8th seed.
Oh yes, I heard that. Michael Chin, or no, Polo Lee and Chen Jiang. Yeah. Napoleon's kind of an interesting tech versus, or an interesting metagame Polo versus Pyro. And they tried to play each other in top.
Napoleon makes sense in the fact that, like, considering the BC regionals, which for a lot of these players, for both those players, I believe that was like the last one we both played in. Top 10 was 6 out of 8 Pyro, and then 1 Virizion, 1 Plasma. I believe it was.
I think so.
But well, the Pyro, so they kind of expect to see more Pyro today, but just not how the meta turned out, I guess. But it wouldn't do too bad against some of these decks, though, for sure.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting to see I believe that this regionals actually has more real decks. The last regionals, it seemed like everyone was either playing Virizion or Pyro. There's just no other option. In this tournament, I mean, Chase is playing Virizion, but there's not as much Pyro as before. Virizion, where everyone seems to actually have the format seems to have matured a little bit.
Yeah, and I really like the more diversity of the format for sure.
Every other game does not sound very good.
Yeah, there's no stuff that is.
So we see a start from Jordan, and I think
Oh my god, you can get Megaluke.
the bad part about having the Ho-Oh for Chase is that I think the Ho-Oh is even fine just to build up the ability.
He's fine to just return attached to that and just start killing things with that. And then if he gets another Pokemon, and even if he just kills the Ho-Oh, it'll still be something. So, the only start that Jordan really didn't want to see, I guess, would be the Jirachi start with Chase in position to.
He came from Poland.
Yeah, what else is in there? Yeah.
So we see Chase excuse me, with the Genesect start, not the best place to be, but he's going to Ultra Ball, soon finding a Virizion.
Yeah, he has to get off the side. Unless like Jordan initially has no energy. I'm not sure if Jordan wants DCE. That would give a faster
I would imagine that if you're, excuse me, that if you're going to run Ho, you probably want DCE, because you probably say, like, I really am doing this so I can have an edge against Virizion. Just having a faster rainbow burn seems like one of the ways to do that.
It depends on how much you care. The thing about it is, like, I'm not sure if DC or deck because you already just straight up.
For most of the part, DC makes it a little bit better, a little bit faster, but it feels like more a bit of a win more when you can run more types of energy to just have a broader spectrum of energy you can get back with Rebirth.
That's fair. That's fair. I suppose just being able to. Maybe you just want to focus on getting the maximum amount of energy possible to do the maximum amount of damage.
If you're running like Mewtwo's and Suicune and stuff like that, like sort of 2 of each, then I'd start running DCEs because then you can get off faster one of those. I mean, one of the things I did like about Manectric Ho, which is why I tested it a bunch, is that how diverse you can go with it, like how many different Pokemon you can put in, how many different energies, different strategies you can put into it, which is why I like it. But the problem is that I find a lot of times it's not consistent against Toad at all, which I fear is going into it with like Yveltal, Garb, Toad, and then Slurpuff Toad, that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like we said, the choice to play an expanded deck is very, very based on the metagame. If you're playing Empoleon, you probably think that there's a lot of Pyroar. I suppose the Empoleon deck actually probably doesn't fare very well against this deck.
No.
You can just not play Ho-Ohs.
Just not play Ho-Ohs, and you can still accelerate with Manectric, so it's not like you lose out on your energy either.
Absolutely.
And it looks like Jordan now has 3 different energies in discard and a Ho-Oh. And so he potentially could start destroying Genesect, which he really doesn't want to see. And Jordan's going for a Jirachi. I'll get a Juniper.
Dumping some energy in the Ho-Ohs into that discard pile. And you can kind of see Chase just understands the matchup and understands that this is not looking too good for him.
This is actually the second time Chase lost to Manectric Ho if he does in fact lose. I beat him. I beat his Yveltal Toad Yveltal Toad with Manectric Ho at a League Challenge like 2 weeks ago, where I proclaimed I would never run the deck again.
So we do have the other matchups in. It looks like we said, Chen and Polo are both playing Empoleon. Jacob is playing against Koichi. Jacob's playing Seismitoad Slurpuff, and Koichi's playing Manectric Garbodor.
Manectric Garbodor, that's interesting. Is he running Toad Manectric Garbodor?
I'm not sure. We just got a spotter telling us what the decks are. I would imagine so. It doesn't seem like too big of a stretch.
Manectric Toad Garb was another deck that me and Chase were considering, but in the end it was also put in favor of Virizion Genesect.
And then Jack Stensrud is playing Pyroar as he has continued to play throughout the entire season.
That was the one person that I was sure what deck they were playing. Because Pyroar's a good extended play. He played it throughout all of Swiss, stuff like that. He's been doing well with it. Why not?
Yeah, not really much of a reason to switch.
No.
Although everyone would expect you to be on Pyroar, so I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, and now Jordan got the Rebirth Heads and now has 3 energy and a Muscle Bound on that Ho-Oh. So if he gets a switch off of this Juniper, he will take out Chase's active Genesect and score the first knockout.
And then in the last player in our top 8 looks like Kyle Thomas is playing Crobat Wobbuffet. So it's going back to the kind of original Crobat deck.
Interesting play.
We'll have a chance. Let's see. What are the seedings like? Yeah, Kyle Thomas is playing against Jack Stensrud, so the Evolution deck should have an edge against the Pyroar deck. I'm not really sure how.
Well, because also they have Wobbuffet to block off the Pyroar's ability.
Oh, right, that's true, yeah.
It should be a pretty favorable matchup for Crobat.
And that's definitely a case of just the metagame play right there.
For sure.
He would just put Jack on Pyroar 100% and play a deck that's favorable against it. So
Crobat seems like a pretty good play in this meta right now. And it should theoretically have a good Toad matchup because Toad Slurpuff. Good Virizion Genesect matchup. I'm not sure about the. Well, if you have it against Manectric Ho-Oh, you lock out Rebirth, but they still have the Manectric, so that'd be an interesting matchup.
That's true.
Right, and it looks like Jordan missed the switch, but he got an energy touch on the Ho-Oh. And he still has, he has his 3rd Ho-Oh in discard pile right now.
And like we said, I think he's happy enough to just kind of sit back.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't really want to let Chase get an Emerald Slash off. That's
But-
one of the bad parts, but I mean,
At the same time, he's not stressed at all right now.
yeah, he's happy to just sit back and.
If he has an energy and a Lysander next turn, it's going to start looking really bad for Chase, especially since that Emerald Slash is going to be hitting into the active Ho-Oh, which is not the Ho that he's going to be attacking with.
Absolutely.
And Chase plays Coalish Machine to retreat the Genesect from the looks of it.
Yeah, you gotta imagine that's his play here. Sky Arrow Bridge in hand, actually.
Oh, so then he's just getting the energy, I guess. Just try to get a head on energy attachments. What I'd probably like to see Chase do here is Sky Arrow Bridge, retreat to Virizion, attach Emerald Slash, but then put 2 Grass on the other Genesect. So then he has 2 Grass on one Genesect with a Plasma on the other, so he could attach energy switch if Jordan got off the Lysander or something like that.
Wow, that's a brutal turn of events. Chase does not play the Sky Arrow Bridge, decides to Juniper it away, and then I don't believe he drew an energy either off of that Juniper.
I guess he didn't play the Sky Arrow Bridge to deny Jordan from just getting a 1 retreat off Ho, but yeah, unfortunately, he'll now lose the Plasma energy.
Yeah, that's going to be very rough for him.
And then Chase is dropping the Dedenne now, which could kill the Ho back if Chase has a Muscle Band energy. Doesn't look like he has energy. He has the Muscle Band, but he doesn't have an energy right now from the looks of it. Or maybe he has a Plasma energy on the very left of his hand?
If so, that would be put Chase in a much better position than we thought.
Oh, but is he just sacrificing the Dedenne? Oh, okay.
So he's just going to go ahead and say, hey, this Dedenne is good versus you, but I need to execute my main game plan, and I don't want to let you get ahead 2 prizes, knock out something important of mine. Let's go ahead and sacrifice this Dedenne.
I might have liked to see him keep the Dedenne, just because he's going to have a hard enough time getting 4 prizes with a Genesect, let alone 6. So I might like to see him keep the Dedenne, maybe keep the Dedenne on bench, so that he could return this Ho at least and force Jordan to get a Rebirth flip. However, if Jordan misses an energy or a switch right here, that would put Chase in a pretty good position, especially if Chase could muster up a kill on the bench toe. Although he wouldn't really need to if he can energy slash. Emerald Slash.
Emerald Slash. So there are definitely ways that Chase can win this match, win this game, but it's going to take a lot going right for him and a lot going wrong for Jordan. We see Chase with a perfectly serviceable hand, but still lacking in energy, unfortunately.
Ho actually might be weak to water. Yeah, Ho is weak to water, actually, not lightning. So actually the Dedenne does not do much in this matchup at all, actually.
And there's a Battle Compressor. I think I also saw a switch in Jordan's hand, which would be pretty unfortunate. Battle Compressor is interesting. Is that something you were playing in your
for sure.
build?
The Ho build, yeah. Yeah, you need a compressor in this deck.
Just being able to throw away 2 Ho's and an energy, or Ho and 2 energy seems...
Or you get that beautiful start of 3 compressor. 3 compressor, get rid of 2 Ho, 6 energy, and then whatever supporter you want.
Seems pretty good. And we did confirm that the 3rd Ho is in the discard pile.
Yep.
Jordan, wow.
Yeah, so he just now has 3 different types of energy, and he's probably going to go for another Rebirth. Gets that, he'll have 2 Ho's with 3 energy each on them. Oop, Tails on the Rebirth.
Rebirth misses.
Does have the switch though. So he'll... Now that's the only non-EX that Chase runs, so killing this will not net Jordan anything other than a card.
Absolutely.
So that's okay. Now...
There's the knockout.
Now the big question for Chase, assuming he has the energy, big question will be is if does Jordan have a Lysander? Because if Jordan has a Lysander, things are going to start looking really grim for Chase.
If Jordan has a Lysander, I just think Chase might be out of this game at this point.
Only other potential play he could do is if he does in fact have the Lysander, and if Chase then also has a Muscle Band in hand for this attack, he could hit the Hoe for 70, hit the Hoe for 70 again when he goes after the Genesect, and then if he doesn't get a Lysander for the next, the second Lysander, he could Megalo Cannon kill that Hoe and a Jirachi. And then if Jordan doesn't have the return kill for some reason, he could G-booster essentially.
That's true. That would take quite a bit, but certainly possible. And we see was that a Virtue Seeker Skyla for Professor's Litter?
Yeah. But if Chase doesn't have the Muscle Band here, it'll really be does Jordan have the Lysander sort of game.